Ta-da! All right. It's Sunday, and it's the Midnight Society. It's me, Patrick, and
I'm back.
that's right. The Professor is back. That's right. This is like our first official show. I mean, as a duel. Um,
Yeah.
wow, this is gonna be fun.
Oh,
Um,
let me tell you, you chose one heck of a movie to talk about.
uh,
this is a banger.
oh yeah, you know what? It was funny is I had never seen it. I know that there's another one behind, and we are going to probably just cover the first one because we learned painfully from watching Blackula that
Yeah.
if we try to shove in two movies during one night, that it doesn't really work out so well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a little light talking, say hi to everybody. See, Echo and V is here. Um,
Oh.
yeah, that's right. Uh, and Anthony's here. He's down to 718 subs on his YouTube channel. And he was on the Echo stream last night. Wow, that's right. And all the beautiful people in the chat. Uh, tomorrow night, V will be interviewing Mark from the Friendly Men tomorrow night. That's going to be a lot of fun. 9:30 Eastern time. Uh, so that I know that's coming up tomorrow. That will be fun. Fun times all the way around. The interview series is getting up and running. Yesterday though, the professor, uh, did you? I mean, the Friendly Men were everywhere yesterday. They did two streams yesterday, or two streams back to back. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's Superman and Nuclear Man. Unfortunately, Nuclear Man will not be here tonight. Yeah, well, yeah, he's not going to be here tonight. No Nuclear Man tonight. So, it's unfortunate, but that's how it works. Some things you can fix, some things you can't. So,
Yeah.
oops, my charger came out. Okay. Uh, But we are talking about we're going to be talking a little bit about Jack Frost. Um, yeah, last week, but that was a fun show last week. I really thought we were going to have that this week too. We covered Beasts last week, and you
I
guys
still wanted
seem
to
to
talk about that one. Everest
yeah,
Alba versus Lions, but like to quote Ian Malcolm, life gets in the way. But
um,
I am here now, and I
yeah,
am
you
looking
know what?
forward to this.
We're going to have to cover some more animal horror, because man, I've forgotten. I really have forgotten to about how much fun it is. And on Tubi, they actually have a movie um, called Grizzly that we should cover. I really like to cover
Oh,
that too. Grizzly that's a banging movie right there.
yeah, yeah,
I want
definitely.
I definitely would like to cover that. In fact, I dare say it's something that we might even do as soon as next week. We'll have to have our staff meeting and talk about it.
Sure.
Um, yeah. This movie here is not animal horror. You're right. This is definitely snowman horror. This is not the only snowman horror there is. As far as snow related horror movies go, there's another Jack Frost movie, Jack Frost 2. In fact, I want to say there's three. I think there's three Jack Frost movies. I know there's one that's a comedy with Michael Keaton. Uh,
Let me tell you, just that must have been because if memory serves me right, don't count so much of my memory; it doesn't work that much anymore. But I remember that the Michael Keaton Jack Frost movie was at one point on the same time on the shelves as the Jack Frost horror movie. So I could just imagine all the kids that were like, "Oh, let's see a fun time with Michael Keaton," and they get this horror movie. Must have blown their brains out.
yeah, this movie was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there was yeah. I mean, definitely a little bit salty. There's nothing here. I mean. There's nothing here that really is, it's comedy.
Yeah,
But the gore is on point. This is actually a pretty bloody ass movie, and
yes, it
they
is.
don't hold the punches for that one.
And I kind of like. We'll get into it. But one thing I really also liked about this movie is how they took Christmas tunes, but gave them more like a rocking
Mhm.
interpretation, and throughout the movie, and I was enjoying the hell out of this one.
Yeah, the score is pretty cool. Uh, the score is very cool. The people in the cast are a lot of fun. Uh, there is there is some tragedy that's a tie to this movie, unfortunately. There is a
Yeah.
little yeah, there is some tragedy. We'll get into that. Um, but overall, for a first time watch, I really enjoyed this a lot. And I started to think about other movies that feature snowmen in it as far as being a killer. Um, and I do know that there are some snow creatures out there. Of course, being Dead Snow 1 and 2.
Yeah, the zombie ones. And
Uh,
there's I have a couple of Yeti horror movies.
oh
Uh,
yeah, yes, yep.
yeah,
Um, and Wendigos. Wendigos is the Canadian a creature.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's ice sharks. Abominable Snowman. Yep, I actually there is a movie called Abominable, which is
I,
about the Abominable Snowman, starring Matt McCoy, and
I have. Oh, I think there's two movies. Again, don't quote me, but I think there's two movies. The one that I have has a brief cameo by Lance Henriksen, and anything that has Lance Henriksen in it, I'm gonna get. So it might
um,
be that one.
it might be. I'm trying to remember who directed it. I want to say it was a well-known director. It escapes my brain right now, but I do remember the movie. I do remember it starred Matt McCoy, and I do think it is that one with Lance Hendrickson. Or if it was
Yeah,
Jeffrey Combs. It might be with Jeffrey Combs, actually.
I think they're
Uh,
both in it. Again, the scene with Lance Henriksen is just a brief cameo. He's only in it for a couple of moments there, and then he's gone. Do you know who it is? Oh, what
let's,
do you know?
let's see.
But I also recently got one called Ice Spiders. Is about genetically engineered spiders that are ice. Not good.
Let's see. I got it. I got it right here. I'm gonna tell you what movie that is. He's actually done. Matt McCoy's actually done a couple of movies like that. He did one called The Ice Road. So that was that one. Let's see. He did a Merry Little Christmas, but I don't think that counts. Abominable. That's right. There it is. Uh, let's see. And that movie was directed by Ryan Shiflin, and it stars Matt McCoy, Haley Joel. That's a girl. Haley Joel, Jeffrey Combs. So I got that one right. Jeffrey, Paul Gleason, and Lance Hendrickson, Phil Morris, Tiffany Shepis, Dee Wallace. Man, I forgot this movie was The Act. Rex Lynn. Holy shit, this movie was stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Man, that's yeah. I have the soundtrack to this movie. That's the thing. I don't have the movie itself, but I do have the soundtrack.
Oh, that was one of the. It's kind of hard to find horror movies for me in the wild because it's not very available. But that one I found at a swap meet, and oh boy, was I happy to get that one.
Um, let's see. The chat is popping here. Abominable Snowmans. There's another movie a slasher movie that has feature a snowman at the end of it called Iced. That was a lot of fun too. That was a fun movie. Some very inventive kills in that movie as well. Let's see. Yeah, I agree with you, Cause. That was a great interview yesterday done by the House of Horrors. Yeah, with Daniel Donahue for Women in Horror Month. Next Saturday at 8 o'clock, they will be having the lovely Jessica Cameron on next week. That'll be a lot of fun. I do believe that will be Jessica's first appearance on anybody's channel that we know of. You
Oh,
know
that's
what's funny? You know what's funny is like of all the live streams, her and her friend Heather, they did a Scream Queens live stream, and that was actually the first streaming live stream I ever saw on YouTube, more than
okay.
anybody else. Yeah, so I think it's pretty fun that that Jessica's going to be a guest next Saturday on House of Horrors. Uh, yeah, that was a good interview yesterday. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Of course, any movie with snow in it has to include all Christmas movies. You have to include all Christmas horror too.
Yeah. All your
Uh,
Krampus and all your movies like that.
right. I mean, you have to include Krampus and Silent Night, Deadly Night. Bloody
Gremlins.
Christmas. Yeah, Gremlins. Anything that has a Christmas theme to it. Um, I don't know. Is Home Alone a horror movie? I
Hmm.
mean, look at it from Kevin's point of view, maybe not, but I'm looking at it from the wet bandits. I'm thinking that's a freaking nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
those those guys got punished so hard. I mean, they got lit up. Uh,
Literally.
oh, that's right. It's a horror movie because Kevin grew up to be Jigsaw. Star Lord says it's a horror comedy. I have to agree with you, Star Lord. I don't, when you watch Home Alone, I mean, a lot of it's like a little boy against two grown men. But if you really do look at it through their eyes, man, they get trashed.
Yeah. I saw, I don't know if you're familiar with Robot Chicken, but I saw on YouTube. It's like stop motion with toys and stuff. And they parody a lot of different things. And they did one where they have the Wet Bandits going to the Laurie Strode house from Halloween 2018. And then Michael Myers gets confused and he goes to the Home Alone house against Kevin McAllister. And it didn't go so well for Kevin McAllister.
Kevin, didn't go so well for him.
No,
Oh, I was gonna say it wasn't going to go so well for Michael. I mean, I think Kevin McAllister could have probably stopped anybody with his house. I mean,
not,
he would have trashed Michael Myers. He would have
not
trashed
Michael.
Jason. I don't know. That's I have to see that one because I have to be honest with you. The way he had that house all set up, I don't think anybody was going to come inside that house without getting trashed.
Hey, yeah.
Um,
The skits is the exact same traps he used against the Wet Bandits, but it has Michael in it.
right, right. Um, yeah, I don't think he would have done very well against Jason, being that Jason is a supernatural killer. So he probably would have, he'll probably just walk right on through that. Uh, but Michael's, I mean, we saw what happened to him in Halloween Ends. I mean, he got trashed by Corey. So, do I think that he could outlast Kevin? Probably not. I think Kevin would have probably waxed him. Uh,
Corey,
but
yeah.
I mean, he for Christ's sake, he got beat up by Corey.
Oh, he was
Uh,
old. It was
yeah.
old
Well, what do you
Michael
think?
Myers.
I mean, he's got to be. Well, you think he's like Joe Pesci old?
Well, now he might be.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. See, Jason would have smashed through a wall to get to Kevin. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna have to go with Jason as far as taking Kevin goes. But I don't
Well,
think that Michael Myers would.
let's not forget Jason in the final chapter did get taken out by a kid. Now, zombie Jason, I would give it to zombie Jason. But human Jason, he doesn't have the best track record when it comes to kids.
Yeah, I mean, the Feld dog got him. That's true. The Feld dog did get him. Um, you know, but thing is though, I think he came back as a supernatural Jason. So now, that's where we see him now. Whereas Michael Myers came back as a normal Michael, uh,
Yeah.
which which really surprised me. Because I've been hearing people. It's really sort of interesting hearing people already starting to talk about Halloween again. I really didn't think we are going to hear any conversation about Halloween for like another year, a couple of years, because people were so burned out by what happened with Halloween Ends. But I'm already starting to hear people talk about it again. Like, okay, Halloween
Too soon.
Ends. I think so too. I think it's too soon too.
Now,
But
wait until what is it, 2028, when the next anniversary comes along. Then maybe. But then now it's too soon. Too soon. We still have to look forward to that Exorcist reboot they're planning, and
well,
someone make the
yeah,
13th Friday the 13th for crying out loud. It would be
well,
perfect. 13th Friday the 13th synchronicity.
yeah, that's coming out Friday the 13th. Both projects are running. They got you got Miller. He got Victor Miller's coming out with his, and Sean Cunningham is coming out with his. It's going to be
Don't
the
do that to
Clash
me,
of
Pat.
Titans.
Don't give me hope. The only thing I heard about was a TV show. You're getting me
No,
excited
no,
here.
no. Sean Cunningham has said it. He has announced his project. Is his project is it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with it. I mean, definitely. Of course, we've already heard rumors again about Nightmare on Elm Street coming back. Um, yeah, I'm not.
Uh,
I don't know. I sort of am digging that. I sort of hope that they. I sort of hope they don't do that. I'm really sort of hoping they come up. They keep going with the new franchises. Movies like Sinister or Black Phone or stuff like that. Something fresh and new, and then maybe do a trilogy. I think they should just do a trilogy and get the hell out of Dodge. If you're gonna if you want to do a more than one horror movie, come out, do three, and get the hell out of Dodge. Come out with something new. Uh, don't come out with like Slasher Joe, Chapter 10. I just don't think people really want to see that. Though look at Scream 6 is queuing up to be the largest opening in franchise history. Um, and the reviews seem to be coming up pretty decent. That it's getting pretty decent reviews. Um, of course, that's mainstream media, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. I
it would be
do.
interesting. It will be interesting to see once it comes out and all the horror people get to it, because a lot of I will go into Scream and not judge it, but it does seem it is getting a lot of hype just because it's popular. Like, oh, it's popular. I better talk about Scream, and that's why
Yeah,
it gets so much exposure.
I
Personal opinion.
am
Personal opinion.
I am hearing this. It is sort of like the same vibe as we got for Halloween Ends. We did hear a lot of positive feedback on it until it hit, and then after that, then it wasn't so positive. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Scream. I think that because Jenna Ortega's star is so bright, I think this movie is going to come out and do well. I still think that Sydney will pop up at the end of the movie, setting up for Screen 7, and I do. I think that's how it's gonna. I think that's how it's gonna go. I don't think
Yeah,
we're not gonna see Sue or Stu or Billy. They're
well,
dead.
that's a running gag. I post on any video regarding Scream 6. I always say it's gonna be zombie Matthew Lillard.
It's gonna be Scream into space.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the next one.
That's the next one. Ghostface takes over. It takes over a shuttlecraft. Hey, Waffles. Uh, Yeah, you know what though? I just don't want to see. I don't want to see Robert England any more than I want to see Tobin Bell in Saw. I don't want to see either one of them in there. It's they've had their day. They've had their run in the sun. It's time to develop new voices, new actors to play it. I mean, that's how you make your characters immortal. That's the reason. Think about it like James Bond. We couldn't bring Sean Connery up every single movie. Or Roger Moore. They had to change out they had to change out the actors to make the story relevant, make so the character relevant to audiences. And I think
Yeah,
that's the same thing with Freddie and Michael and Jason and whatnot. You have to change the actors out and make them a little bit. And sounds funny coming from us. I'm old, but you have to keep them young, especially killers like Jason and Freddy. Uh, you have to keep them young, and Tobin Bell as well. Yeah,
yeah, but then
okay.
you run the risk. You could try something new, but then you have to do it well, because then you run the risk of repeating that Spiral movie that didn't
Mhm.
include Jigsaw. It was just someone inspired by Jigsaw, but that movie was not done well. I think I didn't much care for Spiral.
Well, it's a tradition to change James Bond. Well, it's actually a tradition to change Jason's too. There's been a lot of people who have played Jason throughout the years. Um, so we can do that. I mean, and it's for some reason, I think it actually helps the movies because each character that has played Jason has their own fan base. I mean, there's some people that are huge Warren Gillette fans. I know that there's fans of Derek Mears. Of course, you got the various who's the big guy? Oh, oh my gosh, boy, I am having more and more senior moments.
Jason? You mean Kane
Yeah.
Hodder?
Kane Hodder. We had Kane Hodder. We had Michael Myers. We've had different people play Michael Myers. We've had Tyler Maine play him.
Yeah.
Jude Courtney play him. So I mean, there's different. There's you can change the name, you can change the character and make them more fun.
Yeah, but
Uh,
going back to something you touched upon, I do think that I have a nostalgic heart for Jason. He's very close to my heart. But I do believe that it would be better to add new characters. I mean, recently the only big horror guy that popped out recently is Art the Clown, but he's like the only one. Whereas a couple of years ago we had Chrome Skull from the late Terrest series. We had Kane from the See No Evil series. Jacob Midnight, I think his name was. We had the
mhm.
Collector. They were building stuff, but I don't know why I didn't catch on. Chrome Skull I thought was pretty cool. He had this chrome mask and everything, and I would have liked to see a third entry from that one.
Of course, we talk about the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Uh,
They changed him. They changed
yeah.
that was that. That's a case of where it didn't work out. But I'm not entirely sure because I have not seen the movie, so
Uh,
I can't
uh,
speak to him being a bad creeper. I think that movie is more sunk by a bad budget, by a low budget and a standalone set. Like we're gonna put it all on actually make it a bar into a haunt.
yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunately, with the Jeepers Creepers, there's two things. The movie itself is not good. I saw it, and it's not good at all. And also, there's some touchy things with the director from the first three, so the name got kind of sullied because of that situation.
I
But
thought they took him away from Jeepers Creepers Reborn. I thought he
yeah,
was not involved in it at all.
nothing. But he still, I think, don't quote me. That's something I read online. But I think because he's is linked to it, he still gets some kind of money out of it, and no one wanted to, support that guy. So, but the movie itself is bad. It's terrible. Taking that away from the equation, it's still not a good movie. But
Um,
I would like to see Leprechaun. Leprechaun Returns, I thought was pretty good. I was actually hoping they would do another Leprechaun.
John from Doomsday Crypt says that Brett Wagner was in Chrome Skull too. Oh, okay, that's cool. I'd like to check that out. I'd like to see Brett in action. Definitely, I'd like to see that. Uh, yeah, I hear that I heard overall that the Creeper on Reborn. I just heard that was just a really bad movie. Um,
Yeah, I would not recommend it at
n-
all. No, no,
no,
no.
if I got it for a dime, I'd get it. If I bought it for a dime, if at the library, I would pick it up for a dime. But no, I'm not going to pay more than that for it. I still haven't watched Reborn yet. I gotta. Yeah, I heard it was bad. I heard the third one was bad too, and I was really disappointed to hear that.
Yeah,
Because I love the first two. The first two, Jeepers Creepers, are two of the best horror movies ever made. I mean, they really are. That's a great character, and the first one is just iconic. I don't care. I can't. I'm not one of those guys that crucify Victor Salva. I'll say this: he's a despicable human being. He is, but at least I could say this about him. At least he got justice served to him. He got served. He did his time. Where I see other people like Weinstein and Roman Polanski. I mean, it took decades for them to get their justice. And in Polanski's case, he still has never gotten it. And
no,
yet here he is. He's considered an Oscar winner. No one, they didn't take away his Oscar. You got still people out there working with them. So I can't play that one. It's like if you're gonna crush one person for their crimes, you got to crush them both, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is. What's going on? Holy cow! Look who's here. It's our friend Harry. Pick surprises in the house. Man, good to see you. Wow, very cool. And you know what's funny? That's so we're talking about that, and in comes a real life hero. Pick surprise. I think I'm saying his name right. Harry. Uh, he was a huge YouTuber in England, and he was going around catching predators. He was catching he was setting up predators to be caught. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's great. That's well, thank you so much. We got to have you come back on, definitely. I'd like to see I'd like to catch up with you. Great interview too. I have to run that too. That's a great interview. A lot of fun. Um, so I guess that's a really, I guess that really, that does really, it is a prevalent thing where you make a mistake or a crime or whatnot, and like they're talking about Chris Rock. He just did a special. They're talking about because he got assaulted by Will Smith, and
Oh yeah.
so yes, yes,
Do you
yes,
think
I would love that.
that was
Um,
real, or was that just to make
no,
controversy?
that was real. No, Chris Rock got tagged. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
no setup. No, you're not going to put yourself. You're not going to put yourself up for that. I mean, no, there's no. Will Smith has taken a major hit.
Yeah.
I don't know any publicist that would take him on right now.
No,
Um,
no.
no,
But it just
no.
seems like such an odd thing to happen. I mean, I can't remember what movies were nominated that year that I decided because I stopped watching the Oscars
King
many years
Richard.
ago.
He won.
Yeah,
He won for King. He won the Oscar for King Richard.
yeah. Well, but I just happened upon that year's one, and I'm watching, and I was like, now I remember why I stopped watching these things. And then that happens.
Oh,
I'm like, wow, well, that's interesting. That I guess that happened.
what's funny? It's I've actually I actually sort of I fell out of the award shows. Like they just lost my interest.
Yeah,
And I got
same
to
here.
tell you, the ones that got me get back into it have been YouTubers. YouTubers that are doing their their Oscar awards and their best of awards. I know that our good friend Danny Nightmare from Horror Addicts, he's doing an award show called the Oscars, not to play on the Oscars, but the
A good one.
Oscars.
That's a good one.
He asked me. I felt he asked me. He says, "Have you watched a lot of last year's horror?" And I'm going like, "No, not as much as I should have." I didn't realize until a little bit later that he had been asking me to be a presenter. But I just didn't feel like I watched enough horror last year's releases to be a good host. But I was glad he asked me.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, the Cinema Squad did their Rubber Duckies. That was tremendous. That was a lot of fun. Hey, Chadwick, how are you, sir? Chadwick in the house. Man, I'll see a lot of good faces coming in the chat today. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. This is the Festivals of My first show. This is our first official Midnight Society. And as you noticed, I noticed I think I killed your name again, didn't I? I think I called it Macacrow. I got to fix that.
It's
See the
fine. Don't worry.
see the banner, and I misspelled it. So welcome to the Midnight Society with Professor. I got the Professor part right.
Yeah.
Macabro, the cat, and once in a while the bat. We still
Don't
holding out
forget
hope.
her.
We're still holding out hope that our good friend Al Ducard will be able to fly in here and hang upside down with us once in a while.
I
Uh,
gotta mention that Zombie Wasitos is here because she gets mean if I don't give her props. So you're here. You're here.
yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. Um, so okay, so I got to ask you about this movie, Jack Frost. Now, when it was suggested that we watch this movie, and I came to you and said, "Hey, we're gonna do Jack Frost." Had you already seen this movie, or were you like me? Was this a first time watch for you?
No, no, I actually had already seen this movie again back during the times of the VHS. Because I should have gotten a picture of it, but the VHS itself had a really cool cover that the face of Jack would turn from a happy little snowman into this gnarling thing. Doesn't
Yeah,
appear
that's
in the movie,
right.
but the
Uh,
cover was pretty cool.
yeah, it didn't have I think it had a ventricular cover, right?
That's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. Um, I had never watched it. I was like, okay, I'm going like, well, we should do Jack Frost, and we're like, okay, the Michael Keaton one. That's the one where it's a family movie, and like, no, 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 it's a it's a horror movie. And so I said, no, I've seen, okay, that I've seen it, but I've never watched it. So I didn't know what to expect.
It's
Um,
a good one. It's a good one. And this also came out during a time. Again, I apologize if I get my facts wrong. I am going by memory, and my memory is anyway. So I remember that there was this time where there was this big family-friendly movie, and then the studios would be like, "Well, let's make a horror one." Like that Pinocchio movie with Haley Joel Osment. No, it's not Haley Joel Osment. One of the kids from Home Improvement did a Pinocchio
oh,
movie, and then
Jonathan,
they released.
was it Jonathan Taylor Thomas? I think it was.
That's the one. And then they released Pinocchio's Revenge to cash in on the first run of mockbusters. Basically, is what I was trying to get to. And Jack Frost was one of those. And oh boy, it's so good. I'm a personal fan of this movie indeed.
I think this came out before. I want to say this came out probably before. I think the Asylum was probably just gearing up. I think the Asylum started their movies. I wanted to say around 2000, 2001, but this
That sounds
movie
about
came out
right. Yes.
this one came out in 1997.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, it was I don't think it got a theatrical release. I mean, it must have gotten like a handful of theaters. I don't remember it. I do remember it being on cable, but I
Yes.
don't remember it being at the theater. Let me check. I don't think it did. I just want to say that it went straight from the home video.
It
And
looks like a movie. I don't. The sequel doesn't. The sequel looks like was made entirely for the video market, but this one looks good. It has some good lighting. It has some good production into it. Cheesy as it may be, but it does have something. So maybe it did get some limited releases, and everyone didn't much care for it. Let's make our money back on
um,
VHS sales.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the cast when I first watched this movie. I was looking at the cast, and the first name that leaped out to me wasn't the one you think that it would. When you look at the cast of the movie, there's one name that jumps out to you right away, and I think everybody would see it and jump at it, but that wasn't for me. Um, this was Shannon Elizabeth's first movie. This is her
Yeah,
debut film, and I think everybody would have said, "Hey," but the person that really caught my eye was none other than the gentleman who plays Jack Frost, who was Scott McDonald. Now, so I remember Scott McDonald because he did a lot of Star Trek. He was
oh,
a big,
okay.
yeah. He had done like 3 or 4 different Star Treks, playing different characters. But he was a character actor that did a Star Trek, and the fans liked him a lot. Hey, Erica, how are you?
Certainly has a very cool voice. He really animates Jack Frost a lot in this one. Though I must admit, I did get a lot of oh, again, I'm gonna get crap for not remembering his name. The guy that voices Chucky.
You're making me feel so good right now. I can't tell you because my
Why?
brain, because I feel like my memory is like not tweaking lately. But you think about Brad Dorff.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
yeah,
I did. I do feel he was trying to, trying to sound a lot like him. Now that's Chucky, but him himself and his voice. Again, just personal observation of mine.
um, Scott McDonald, his regular voice, um, like his voice in Jack Frost is a lot different from his regular voice with Star Trek. He's played a Romulan a couple of times. I think he played another alien. Um,
Yeah,
uh, Hey,
really
Krubby.
really did a really good job voicing Jack Frost here, and a lot of the one liners he pops out. I again thoroughly enjoy this movie a lot. Just
I did too. I did too. I didn't know what to expect. It opened up, and we see Jack. He's in the back of the van, and he's being taken to be electrocuted for series of crimes. He got caught.
oh
He got caught. He got sloppy. They tell
yeah,
his story. Uh,
before I wanted to get to that, I did I did want to just touch upon very briefly, if I may, on the intro, the
yeah,
credit scenes, which is a lost art. I miss intro credit scenes, but I found that very very weird, where the grandpa's telling this delightful story to his child,
oh,
and it's a pretty messed up story.
yeah, I mean, that guy, he's scaring the shit out of his grandson. Like, yeah, let me tell you, you want to hear a story? I'll tell you a story, all right, you little whippersnapper.
Yeah,
And then he proceeds to tell the story about Jack Frost, and Jack is not a nice guy at all.
no,
And he
no, no.
and not only is he scaring his son, but of course, it serves as exposition. It takes us to the beginning of the movie by already hearing the background of the story.
Yeah,
There's not it's not being wasted. It's like he's reading it like a nursery rhyme, but he's telling us about the premise of the movie. It was
yes.
pretty clever the way they did that.
Yeah, I liked it. And just for anyone that hasn't seen Jack Frost, it basically just explains how Jack Frost is the serial killer. And at some point, he was baking people into cakes. And that's when they started figuring out it was him, because he was leaving body parts. So he was getting sloppy. I guess
I,
bakery wasn't for him, but he was getting
I,
sloppy, and
I,
that's how.
I was waiting for them. To say, Jack was going around making mincemeat pie.
Yeah,
And I'm waiting for that joke, and it didn't drop. But I was going like, that would be a perfect time to sit there and say, yeah, Jack's favorite pie that he loved to make was mincemeat pie. It's like, all right, yeah, but so we do see him in the back of the van, and of course we instantly know this movie's going to be comedy. Um, we see the driver and the guard. They're all huddled up together driving. It looks scary. And then on the van itself, it's the execution van. It's like, yeah, okay, thanks for letting us know in case we didn't know that's what you're doing. So yeah, they have that on the side of the van. Execution mobile. Today this truck is used for extra for the execution. Tomorrow it'll be a bookmobile. Um,
yeah.
and this movie was actually set in Colorado. This
Oh,
movie
okay.
was set in Colorado. Yeah, we saw that on the sheriff's car. We see a Colorado license plate. So they're in a heavy snowstorm. Jack's on his way to go to again, this tells you how like how silly this is. Uh, that Jack has to be taken by transport for his execution, whereas he would already been at a jail with execution there. That would already happen. But of course,
Yeah.
for the story, they got to put him in the van. Um, and Jack wants to smoke, and the other guard is being very sadistic and not helping out Jack at all, and blowing smoke in his face, and then of course that's not a good idea to do to a serial killer, uh, because Jack strikes back, and he kills the guard in the back. Um, and of course, now on the other way coming by, we see the genetic truck coming again
Yeah.
on the side of the truck. Genetic material. Like it's so obvious. um,
Yeah. Even Jack saw it coming.
uh, Star-Lord says if Will Smith was Jack Frost, he would slap you with snowballs. Yeah, yeah. You know what? Actually, Jack Frost, I tell you the truth, Jack developed some. They developed Jack very nicely. I will say that. I mean, I thought they developed him really cool. He wasn't
Yeah.
a one trick pony. Um, but of course, they have an accident. Jack gets tossed from the van. The genetic material gets
I
all
love
over him.
I love the that scene where they're just spinning the camera, and you have all these reactions from the characters. I was like,
Mhm.
ah, ah. And then just like Jack is just having the time of his life in this movie. Like, we're all gonna die.
You know, did you see the part where after the crash is over with, and the truck, the guard driver is in the front of the truck, and the way it looks like his leg is like cockeyed going
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
window. I thought that's what had happened to him. I'm going, oh, that looks really painful. And then he gets off, and then it's not really it's not really that. It's just like his boot came off. But the
yeah.
way they set it up, it looked like his legs had gotten all cockeyed, and it was just like, oh, painful. Um, he gets outside, and he of course, he sees Jack, he sees Jack, covered in goo, and of course, what's the first thing he does? He shoots him. Yeah. I thought it
Yeah.
was actually pretty. I actually thought it was actually a kind gesture. He's like, okay, you're covered in goop, you're covered in poop, goop. What should you do? Well, we'll put him out of his misery. But of course, Jack is already well into the change.
Yeah, I really
And
must highlight this because the genetic goop is mashing on him, and before it does, like he's like, "Well, this is gonna suck," and then it's just
yeah,
and he's melting. I love the melting effect in that scene. He's like, ah. First, you all see him boiling, and then you start seeing him as a skeleton, and then he falls down, and he's like, ugh, and he just turns into
I mean, the cop does, of course, the cop does try to help him. He says, he looks really pain, looks like he's in a lot of pain. Let me
yeah.
put him out of his misery. He puts a couple of holes in him. So he did try. I mean, he was showing compassion. He could have just sat there and watched Jack just totally and be in agony, and it wouldn't have been wrong in doing so. But he
Nope.
goes ahead and he tries to help Jack out to get to the other side. Um, but of course, Jack, it's too late now. He gets all into the snow. It covers him, and he basically becomes Jack Frost. He gets, he's mutated.
He
He's
becomes one with the
yeah,
snow.
one with the snow. Could you imagine if he just would have came up with a, just like, he would have just came up with snowballs already ready to go.
Boy,
I was actually thinking to myself, going like, he's pretty badass, but I'd like to see him go against Elf, because the Elf is a tremendously fast a snowball thrower. I don't know who would win between Jack Frost and Elf. Um,
I wanted to get to this later on, but I'm gonna say it now. Hey, Patrick, do you know what
uh,
the difference is? Do you know what's the difference between a snowman and a snow woman?
yes, I do. No balls. That's right. Um, so of course, Jack, he had told the guy who captured him, the sheriff, when he got caught, he said that he'd be coming back. Says one way or the other, I'm going to come back and get my revenge on you. And so,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
it's in that flashback where I really feel he's channeling the Chucky guy because the way his voice is like, "Oh, I'm gonna come back and get you if it's the last thing I do." I was like, "Wow,
right, right.
you're really
How,
heavily
how how about
inspired
this?
by."
How about the sign?
Yeah,
The clip that looks like the ransom note with all the different that he had that taped up. He had that taped up in his office. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
hilarious. Well, some way, somehow, I'm going to come get you. Let's see. What about snow cones? I don't remember. I don't think there's any snow cones in this one. He did snowballs. He did something else as well, which we'll talk to in a minute, which I actually thought was pretty badass and showed some innovation in this
Yep.
movie. Um, so Jack gets out, and he escapes. Then we meet the sheriff, and everybody's so happy because Jack Frost is dead, and they're all kissing the sheriff's ass. They think that he's the best sheriff they've ever had. He's a righteous guy. Everybody wants to be his pal. The local merchants are giving him discounts. Hey, if you want this, I'll give it to you for 20% off. Whatever you want. You're the best law enforcement officer we ever had. They're all his friends. They're all the sheriff's friends, and yeah, they're his pals and everything, and everything's looking good. They're getting ready for Christmas. At the small town, they're getting ready
Yeah,
for Christmas.
the big snowman festival.
That's right. Big snowman festival. Things are going well. And this is where we meet our sheriff. And yeah, he's played by Christopher Alport, Sheriff
Oh,
Sam.
R.I.P.
Uh, hey,
I think
Aunt, how are you?
I think he passed away, and that's because they set
Yes.
up a third one, but unfortunately he passed away, so they never could do that third one.
Yeah, he died in an avalanche. Ironically, he died on the same mountains that Julian Sands died on. He died in the San Gabriel Mountains. Um,
In the end, Jack Frost did get him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wonder if that would. I wonder if that's the last thing he saw when he was before he got hit by all the snow. He went, "Oh shit, Jack, really?" And then got hit. Um,
Damn that Snowman movie.
uh, let's see. So that was Sheriff Sam, and that was played by Christopher Alport. He played Sam. So him and two other people in real life in 2008. He lost his life in an avalanche on the same mountains where Julian Sands passed away on. But we meet him, and like I said, everybody's all over his tip. Like he's a good guy and everything else. But then they get a phone call, and it seems like there's a dead citizen.
Oh
There's a
yeah,
yes, an elderly gentleman is found dead. Uh, but Jack is killed, but he's killed the guard. He killed one guard, and I think the other two got away. Uh,
yep,
yeah, the other two got away, but he killed another old man who's sitting on the front on the porch.
yeah.
Old
That
man
that puppet
Harper,
was actually pretty cool because it's an old guy that's sitting like this, but his neck's all the way in the back,
all
and
the
of
way to the
course
back.
that's a pretty cool prop that they had there.
I thought they did. I heard one of the things I read about this movie was they're talking about how the effects weren't all that. There you could tell the effects were really low budget. I got to be honest with you. I didn't see that in this movie. I saw this movie with a lot of cool gore in it. It
Yes,
didn't hold back, um, and I thought the effects were really good for a movie like this. Uh, it added a lot of punch to it. I
yeah.
I thought,
The only critique, if I would have to critique anything, is that the snow doesn't really look like snow, and
no.
the Jack Frost snowman will look like a faux bodysuit, but everything else is chef's kiss.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I wish the snow could have been just a little bit more snowy, so to speak. But I think for what it was, I think for what they did it with, I thought they did okay with it.
Yep.
It still felt cold watching the movie. That's when you know if the snow is really effective or not. It's when you watch a movie and you see snow in it. It's gonna subconsciously you're gonna try to wrap a blanket around you, so to speak.
Yes.
You're going to try to do something like that because you're in a snowy atmosphere, and you're going to, especially if you use your imagination and you put yourself in the movie. Like, how would you feel if it was really snowy? Well, you feel like you want a blanket. Hi, Cassie. How are you?
Yeah. Very very well done. And again, it is difficult to work in snowy conditions because of the cold and it's melting and everything gets wet and everything. So again, it will be the only slight nitpick I would say, but they still what they did, I think they did extremely well.
Um, you want to pick it up after Old Man Harper?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So they find a body, and a little premise before. So we get introduced to the sheriff and his family, and I did want to mention this one with you. Like, what was up with the sheriff's son? Well, is this the first time that he's tried to cook with antifreeze? Well, that was extremely weird.
Yeah, yeah. He was trying to make his dad some oatmeal cookies, and he didn't want his dad to get a cold, so he put a secret ingredient in there.
Yeah. But another scene we also before they discover the old man, he gets to his sheriff office and there's the secretary there, which it's that secretary. I know I've seen her before and stuff, but again, notoriously bad memory. And he's going in as, hey, how you doing? Well, not even gonna say, oh, good morning to you too. Like, what? Did someone die? And she pulls up the note, someone died. And then that's when they find the old guy. And Jack Frost is still kind of discovering his abilities. Then we cut to the government office because the guy with the chemical, well, he knows what the chemical was about, and the FBI guy, well, he knows it's Jack Frost was involved. So they're trying to, keep everything hush hush. We can't let everyone know that we created a genetic abomination. And so they headed to town, and more bodies are starting to come up because Jack Frost again is trying to see the limits of his powers. And oh goodness gracious, he really does have an incredible set of powers in this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he would be a force to be reckoned with. Other than he's snow and he could melt, but he could go toe to toe with a lot of the big guys
Yeah.
in a snow setting.
Yeah. I thought so too. I thought the powers they gave him were really impressive. He wasn't just a simple brainless roar, coming through. He had a lot of incredible powers.
Yeah,
Um, and they really developed him as he truly was a force to reckon with. And he sort of, in a sense, he sort of like thinking, like, man, what if they would have played this a little bit more straight? They would have really that would have been really interesting to see that. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they kept it the way they did because it is fun. It's a fun movie with the comedy parts in it.
yeah, but it would be interesting if someone took the concept and do it like Sirius. Again, how serious can you really make a killer snowman? But something around those lines, where someone becomes basically an elemental, a snow elemental with all the powers that entice. But so Jack Frost is still trying to figure himself out. He's getting the scope of the town and everything, and the sheriff. I think we forgot to mention the sheriff basically came across Jack Frost out of luck for
Hmm.
his career because that's what got him the job, but also it's something that's been hanging on him. The horror of kind of like Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018. That even though he's in jail, he knows it's gonna come after him, and Jack Frost keeps sending him letters like, "Oh boy, just wait until I get out. I'm gonna get you good." And that just brought up memories of that Simpsons episode where Sideshow Bob is writing Bart his letters, and in Cape Fear also a lot of
Right. Yeah.
inspiration from that too. So yeah, Jack Frost, and it's just a ball of thing. But eventually, Jack Frost comes over to the sheriff's house, and the mom's like, "Hey, I like that snowman you made." And the son's, "I didn't make any snowman." "Well, I got you some carrots. You better make that snowman pretty. And that's when Jack finally gets a face because the kid puts on the little eyes and the carrot thing, which will come back later. Remember the carrot on the
Uh-huh.
nose?
Yeah. The
That's gonna
carrot.
come
The
back
carrot goes.
later.
The carrot goes different places.
That scene. Ugh. Anyway, and that's when you get the first look at Jack Frost in proper snowman form. And there's these bullies that are harassing the sheriff's son because I guess the town knows that the kid's not all there. Something's up with that kid. Something's really weird is up with that kid.
Yeah.
So he gets bullied, and because they want to slide, and Jack Frost pushes one of the bullies into the ground as another kid is sliding on his what do you call those? I'm not a snow person, so I don't know what you
Just,
call those.
a sleigh board,
A sleigh board, yes.
and
And
it was a sleigh board.
oh yes, yeah, yes, that poor bully lost his head because how sharp are those things really that sharp? We don't
Yeah.
get snow in TJ, so I don't really know if one of those things would be able to have the force to chop a kid's head off.
I don't know. It's just like a. I think I don't know if it could take off a head per se, but it definitely would mess you up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like skates. Like ice skates. When sometimes you see it on hockey games or whatnot. Those skates can
Oh
light you up.
yeah.
Yeah, they can light you up.
I do remember you did mention that, and then the goalkeeper died because he got.
I think
That's
there
why they
was. Yeah, there
changed the
has
mask.
been a couple of players that have died on the ice because they've got. Yeah.
That's messed up. So that's the first kill that you actually see from Jack Frost because the kid loses his head, and then was like and everyone blames the sheriff's son, and the sheriff's son's like, "Oh no, no." That's an inclination because the dad of the kid that got killed does say, "Your kid's not right. There's the
Yeah,
devil's inside that kid." So you also get some foreshadowing to the kid. It's not all there.
not all
Uh,
day.
no, no, and I kind of felt bad for the dad later on, the dad of the kid that got killed, because he's like all bummed out that his kid, but he was a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think there was some bad stuff happening in that house. It was,
I think what they mentioned. Well, yes, you're right. It's just like the first time they saw Old Man Harper. Up to that point, everybody's on the sheriff's tip. Everybody's glad handing him, patting them on the back, and yeah, good guy and all that. But once Old Man Harper died, all of a sudden the whole crowd, it's sort of like high noon. Everybody's turning, almost turning against him. It's like, oh man, this is going to happen again. We're going to have another mass killer. What are you going to do about it? How can we let this happen? I mean, an hour ago they were praising him. An hour later, they're trying to bury him.
yeah. And also, I guess it was implied the sheriff is not that very, he's kind of incompetent. Uh,
Yeah, he's earnest. He's earnest, but I wouldn't say he's incompetent. I just think he hasn't been challenged.
yeah,
He's comfortable and he's comfortable. He's a good cop, but he's never had any really true reason to to use that. Plus, he's gotten all that praise from everybody for catching Jack.
yeah.
So he's just resting on his laurels. But you still do feel like he is a competent cop.
Yeah, well, he does kind of show that when the FBI agent comes in, because again, he just comes in and the sheriff, the mom, and the son are driving by, and they see the car crash that happened with Jack Frost, and that's his first inkling that something is going on. But he calls the FBI and he's like, "Hey, did Jack Frost get killed?" And they kind of give him the runaround until the FBI comes into town, and then Jack goes to the family. Which again, why did he start with the family of the kid that he killed? Wouldn't his priority would be the sheriff, like
You would think
right off
so.
the bat?
I think maybe that guy whose son was killed was like a town leader, like a councilman or something.
That would make sense. But he goes there, and that's when you get an inkling that there was something wrong with that family, because and for a moment I felt bad for the son, the dad, because his son died, and he's like, it's actually a really good scene where the sheriff, after the kid gets his head cut off, he's like, "Come on, come down, guy, come down. We'll talk about it tomorrow after we come down." And the dad's like, "Tomorrow I gotta bury my kid. I'm not gonna talk about that kind of stuff." And I was like, ugh.
Yeah,
I kind of feel for this guy, but he's there all bummed out because Shannon Elizabeth is the daughter of this guy, and she doesn't want anything to do with the family. Again, you can tell something happens there. She just wants to go and meet up with the son of the store owner. And
hmm
he's like, "You can't go out. We're in mourning. Your brother just died. For God's sakes." And she also has another comeback, says, "The Lord left this house a long time ago." And that
yes,
really,
yeah.
really brings down the mood. And again, there's these,
That's a really a good line right there.
yeah, this movie it has a comedy element, and of course has a killer snowman, but it does have a lot of really good touches in the writing that I'm like,
hmm
yeah, wow, that's really impactful. Like,
Yeah,
bravo,
that's a heavy
bravo,
line in a movie like that.
yeah. So she leaves, she bolts out of there, and the mom's trying to make peace with everything, and dad just won't have none of that. So he goes out, gets a smoke, and that's when you see Jack Frost come, and he kills him in a very implausible way, but amazing.
Yeah,
Because you get the axe, you would think, oh, Jack Frost got the axe, he's gonna axe him, but no, he takes the handle of the axe and puts him in his mouth, and oh boy, that was a good kill, very cool kill.
yeah, very sharp, very sharp. The guy literally had a mouthful when he died.
Yeah, and he says a phrase that I use from time to time. He says, I was just gonna axe you for a smoke," and I use an adaptation of that. I usually say, "I'm gonna axe you a question," but
Right.
he kills the guy, and then he has this ability, and I think it's a really cool ability where he can freeze himself into the snowman, and then turn to water to get through locked doors. And that's something that everyone's questioning. How is this killer getting the house? Everything's locked. We don't get it. We don't get it. But he can literally turn to water, go through doors, and then freeze himself up. And I don't think the mom deserved the ending she got.
Oh
That
no, no.
that was cruel. This
No.
was really cruel. Just
Yeah.
messed up because Jack Frost is tying
It,
her.
it, it was sort of in a sort of way, it was sort of misguided. You're thinking about, Jack's killing his family, the way he's killing them. You're thinking that's the way he would have killed, the sheriff's family, and because as far as we know, we don't find out, we don't know what role this family, if they played any role in it as far as catching Jack. They didn't imply that this family has something to do with catching Jack. They just happened to be in the way, and
Yeah,
you would think that any family that was against the sheriff, you would actually align yourself with, like the family. I mean, they were pissed off at the sheriff. They would, I'm sure if you would have left it alone, I'm sure you would, that would have spilled over. But it's
yeah,
almost like he sort of came in to defend the sheriff, like nobody gets the sheriff but me.
yeah.
But
I get
but
that would be a good way to look at it. Again, a lot of subtlety in this movie if you really
Mhm.
look into stuff. Because the ending of the mom was also kind of foreshadowed because they're in the snow festival and the mom's like, "I always wished I was an angel at the top of the tree." So maybe
Yeah.
Jack heard that and gave her that wish come true, I guess. But it's brutal. You gotta imagine again. I looked way too deep into this viewing of Jack Frost, but the guy that got the axe through the throat, maybe he was an abusive husband, father. So you would assume this poor lady would not have it good. And then Jack Frost comes along and gives her one of the more brutal kills in the movie. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just mean. That's just mean,
Yeah.
man.
It was mean. It definitely was.
Memorable, but unwarranted for the poor lady.
Yeah, I felt bad for her because she definitely got trashed.
Yeah. So and that's a nice visual with because she has the star on her head. So Jack Frost basically turned her into a Christmas tree, and the store owner comes by to leave some stuff, and he sees Jack Frost. So he's the first one to actually live and see the guy. So he goes back to town. He's like, killer snowman, killer snowman. And that's when the sheriff is kind of like getting an inkling that something's not right because the body count keeps rising and there's a lot of stuff happening. So the FBI's in full control. He's like, you got to lock down everyone here, put them in somewhere. And I think they put them in the church because the father's there. And we cut to Shannon Elizabeth and the son of the store owner. And they're like, well, let's fool around, but let's do it in the sheriff's house, which turns out was not such a good idea for them. And they go there. And of course, no one wants to mess with the sheriff, but I guess maybe Shannon Elizabeth was doing it as payback because she also blamed the son of the sheriff for what had happened, I guess.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. So that was their way, is to steal some wine and have sex in the sheriff's house. That's how she's
yeah.
gonna bring him back.
Yeah, so they get there, they get hot and heavy and everything. Like, you'll get yours, but put the house nice and warm. Get me a bottle of wine. And he gets champagne, which is weird. But, oh well, I guess he didn't know any better. And she goes upstairs. And this is something that I have never seen. I've asked a lot of people since watching this movie and then on the rewatch, a lot of my female friends, if they usually hair dry their hair before taking a shower. Is that a thing?
No, they always do it afterwards.
Yeah. I was thinking, well, maybe, they were in the snow, her hair got snow, and she was trying to dry it up before taking a shower, but it made no sense. So that's the only thing I'm like, oh, you were doing so good, movie, and then you kind of threw that one my way. Well, oh well. So Jack Frost finds the kid, because again, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, the sheriff's house. Not a good idea when he has a big old target on his head. And Jack Frost shows another power that he has. He can throw
Yeah.
ice projectiles.
Yes, that was. I gotta be honest with you. That was the coolest part about Jack Frost, where he was able to come out with shooting the icicles out of his hands.
Yeah,
That was some Marvel DC shit. That's what you expected Killer Frost to be able to do, or Iceman would be able to do. That's what you're expecting that. And that, but you're not expecting to see that. Well, considering that movie came out before X-Men, because I do believe X-Men didn't come out until 2000.
the movie. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so they were already showcasing what Iceman could do, should have been able to do beforehand, and that was the projectiles, the icicle projectiles. I thought that was the coolest power. I
yeah,
thought that was like that makes him that elevates his character. I mean, he becomes a very memorable killer with that ability. I mean, the ability to defrost and reform. I mean,
hmm
it's not just there was some well thought out Jack Frost was well thought out as far as his abilities go.
yeah. Again, it has a goofy premise, you might argue, but
Mhm.
they thought of what a nice being could do, like as far as water things. And again, we're just gonna see this escalate on how much Jack Frost can actually do, and he's a force of nature at this point, and
Mhm.
this town is totally unprepared. I mean, you give a crazy madman godlike powers, you're in for a bad time. So
Right.
he gets the boyfriend in the shoulder and sticks him to a door, and Jenna Elizabeth's completely unaware because again she took a really long time drying her hair, and in the end the boyfriend gets it right through the head, and that's also a very very cool effect
Yeah.
and a very cool kill. So
Very
again,
very cool still. Yeah. And the thing about it was like it had they even mic'd a little bit of humor out of that too,
yeah,
because they said go ahead and shoot him through the head, and then Shannon Elizabeth says thanks babe for running the bath, and then you go back to him and he's dying and he's shaking his head up and down.
yeah,
He's nodding his head. Yeah, yeah, okay.
yeah,
That
I did
that
that.
was that was a little bit that was darkly funny.
Yeah, and this movie has a lot of really dark humor, which I am a fan of. So well done. And then I'm guessing Shannon Elizabeth was underage at this point. Maybe
I
not.
I think she was 18 when she did this movie. Obviously she did some nudity. She showed her backside nude.
Mhm.
So she was definitely over 18. But she did not do. She didn't do a topless scene. Uh, they
Yeah,
they they edited they shot the scene around that. So sorry, spoiler alert. There's no naked Shannon Elizabeth in this movie. Not all the way. There's a butt shot, um, but that's it. But yeah, and then yeah, I thought that was really cool too. How she died, again with some of her powers. And actually, I thought this was actually a very much an ode to Nightmare on Elm Street.
yeah. When
You-
with the
I
bath.
thought
Yeah,
with the bath, I thought immediately about Nightmare on Elm Street, and we're like, that's a homage to it because
yeah,
that was a very cool bath scene.
yeah. Because she's just lying there in the bath, and she's suddenly just like dozing off, and she seems kind of mean because the other guy was still has a little bit of snowballs himself, waiting for her to get ready, and well, but then he got killed, so who wasn't there? But she's lying there, just relaxing, and then she's like, "Oh, don't come in yet. Oh, why are you pouring cold water?" Because Jack Frost, in his water form, apparently can also still move, and he takes a dive into the bath with her, and I really like this effect
He
also when
he
she's like in
he
the
was the
water.
bath. He was the bath himself. He went inside there. He formed the bath water. He was the bath.
Yeah.
He didn't climb into it. He was it.
Oh,
He was
okay.
yeah. So because she's laying in Jack. That's who that water was Jack. And then
All
after a
right.
while, he started to make it cold, and then he froze her in place. So when he stood up, she was frozen into his body.
Oh, I thought he came afterwards. Okay, no, that
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
And I really like how they did that because I guess it's like little styrofoam balls or something that they use for the effect. Because she's just lying there and you just see this whole thing freeze over her, and then Jack proceeds to do something that I am not comfortable talking about. there is. I have heard some behind the scenes things about this that they filmed it as Jack basically just grabbing her and smashing her on the wall. But then as they were editing the movie, you notice actually looks like he's doing something else, and I guess they tried to justify that it happened after the fact. But I question that because throughout the movie, you'll see Jack Frost again have a carrot nose in throughout the movie, and in this particular scene, the carrot nose is nowhere to be found. So, me being me, kind of thought, well, where else could that carrot go? Oh no! Oh no! This got messed up.
Yeah, yeah. It was messed up.
Because even in the end, as poor Shannon Elizabeth lies dying there, puking blood, he's like, I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. And I'm like, oh, movie. Oh, you just made this uncomfortable.
Yeah. I agree. That was a little rough. It would have been. Yeah, I mean, it would have been. I don't know. I don't know if they could have played that any different. Maybe him choking her to death or something like that. I don't know, or freezing her to death.
Or
Sort of
even
like
just,
a. But
or
I
even
mean,
just grabbing her and just like forcing her head into the wall, just like grabbing her head and be like, pow, 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 pow. But the way it plays out, it
you
plays
know,
out very,
you notice that they didn't put any blood on the wall though.
yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I noticed that too. They didn't like. He wasn't smacking her. He
Oh, he
wasn't
was
smacking
smacking
her
her,
hard.
but not through
Yeah,
the wall.
yeah. I mean, he was pounding her, and then then
Oh,
she
Patrick, you're making this worse. Why you have to say he was pounding her? I mean,
um
he was, but. Uh,
looks like we've got a new person in the chat I haven't seen before. Hello,
Hello.
Nada. How are you? All rounder Nada. How are you? Glad you're here. You're from Sri Lanka. Okay, well, welcome,
Oh,
welcome.
Patrick,
We are.
you're international.
I know the Midnight Society is international. The International Society.
Yeah.
I guess.
So,
Welcome to the Continental. Oh,
so after
attaboy.
that, Jack Frost does everything he can, and then he goes after the sheriff. And why did they go to the? Oh yeah, there was their base of operation because they. Well, another thing I question because I've seen this. I guess it's a cliche in movies in small towns, but the small towns usually only have a police force of 3 people.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very small forest like that. They probably would have had like maybe like 7 or 8 plus a dispatcher and maybe a couple of reserves. Otherwise, you're calling for the county, and you wouldn't necessarily have a sheriff running the town. I think a sheriff would be for a county. You would have a police chief, but yeah, there's towns like that with 7 or 8 officers in it.
Huh.
Uh, so it was a small town. It was definitely you could definitely sense that it was a small town. Um, but yeah, but again, I tell you what though, the budget might have been a little lean on this movie, but I gotta tell you, the production values were really solid because,
Yes.
like, you notice the policemen's outfits? They were all on point. They all looked the same. They looked like they were in real uniforms.
Yes.
The belts were authentic. The
The
gear
sheriff.
carried on the belts were authentic. Yeah, it was a. They looked like they were cops. Whereas a lot of low budget movies, I mean, you're lucky if they see them, cut out a star and glue it to a shirt and call that a
I,
police uniform.
I've
It's
seen movies that have
embarrassing.
have a T-shirt that just says "cop" or "police," and
Yeah,
there you go. That's your
yeah,
police. But I just question that because one of my favorite movies that I enjoy quite a lot is The Blob, the original one, and also the '80s one. And the police force in The Blob for a small town is a lot more than what we see here. So I don't know. I just found it weird that you only had 3 people. But
yeah,
so yeah, so in the police office, you have the sheriff that's already getting an idea that something's messed up with this. The
yeah,
FBI agent, the scientist guy, the receptionist,
yeah.
and
The
they're there.
reception. Yep.
And all of a sudden, they see Jack Frost come out and get water and then form, and it was like, oh crap, a snowman, run away! And that's when the because it's also foreshadowed again. I really like how things are foreshadowed and then have a payoff later on. Because there's a scene with the receptionist, and she's like also blow drying her hair, and that's why there's a blow dryer in the sheriff office. So he gets a blow dryer and starts whacking Jack Frost, and it melts him, and that's where he gets the idea that heat, heat will slay the beast. And how can we get heat fast? Well, we have these aerosol things. Let's fill up the police office with these things and then blow him up. And they escape. They do so, and the whole police office blows up, apparently killing Jack Frost. But
Apparently.
again, it does not. Jack turns into water and just reforms again. But again, I think this was the first time he did it on such a scale because I really like when he says, "I'm a Picasso," and he's all badly, formed. His head is on the side, his leg is here, his other hand is here. It's like, give me a chance to put myself back together, guys. And he just shambles away. So a lot of really cool comedy, but again, the way that they moved the puppet or the foam costume in its deformed
Mhm.
face, I thought was really good, really, really good.
They gave him a lot of facial expressions.
Yeah,
That would be really hard to do, considering in the best. But they did the face actually. There was a smile, there was a grimace, there was pain, there was anger. I mean, it actually looked really good. I mean, there's sassiness there.
yeah.
I thought they did a really nice job with that. I wonder if it was McDonald in the costume or if it was just special effects.
I think it was maybe a stunt guy, and he just did the voiceover
Hmm.
for Jack. But they really got a lot of personality in the thing because the only point of comparison we have is the Michael Keaton one, and that one was done by, if memory serves me right, the Jim Henson company, and they are masters of creating animatronic faces. But
Right.
as top notch and high budget as the Michael Keaton Jack Frost Snowman is, I like the horror one. There's a lot of personality in that thing, and I like it a lot. I really like the work they did. Low budget as it may be, and maybe it doesn't really look like snow. They got a lot from that suit and the performance of the voice actor.
Yeah,
Definitely, I
yeah.
love it.
Scott McDonald definitely. He definitely came to. He definitely had fun with the role. And actually, I thought the guy who played Sheriff Sam, Christopher Allport, I thought he was really. He's having fun too. The receptionist, played by Marsha Clark, um, who played Marla, she was also a lot of fun. There's some people there that were having a good time with that movie.
Yeah,
And it's always good to see that, it's always good to see people are into the movie, having a good time because you can spot a sour performance. You can spot it. You can spot when someone's not really believing what they're doing. They really don't want to be there, but they are there because they're trying to get a paycheck.
yeah,
You can spot that in a lot of performances. But this movie here, everybody seemed to be really into it and really having fun. Um, as far as that goes, I really like their energy for this movie. It
yeah,
always helps. It always helps as far as watching a movie like this goes when they seem to be having a lot of fun.
yeah, definitely. That's what elevates what might be considered a bad movie. Because you could have all the money in the world and the best actors, but if they're not feeling it, they're basically sleepwalking through the roles. It's like, Killer Snowman, sure, whatever.
You get a Nightmare on Elm Street remake. What you get?
Oh, yes. Yeah, although hot take, but the guy that played Freddy, he's no England, but I liked him as Freddy. It's
Yeah,
everything else that surrounds him that was just
yeah,
poor
horrible.
decisions. But he was Rorschach for crying out loud, and he did great as Rorschach.
Hell yeah.
So
And
they're all hiding out. Jack Frost is after them, and there's a scene where one of the remaining cops, because they kind of again foreshadow there's that he wants to get with the receptionist, and they're trying to escape. And let's get out of here, your place or mine. Oh, the receptionist says mine, and then they go away. But the cop has a really goofy face, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get me some of that. And they walk away, they basically leaving the others to their fate. But well, Hanky Panky or Killer Snowman, you'll choose the Hanky Panky. Uh, so they're thinking, okay, what can we do? What can we do? I don't know. We'll try to melt him. Fire heat seems to work so fine. So they bait Jack in. He goes into a ball. He makes himself into a giant snowball and smashes him. But everyone's ready for him. Everyone has dryers with extension cords so they don't disconnect. So they guide Jack all the way to the furnace, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah. It looked like they were gonna. It looked like they were gonna get him. They looked like they were gonna defeat him right there, right then and there.
Yep. So he starts melting, and then they lure him into the furnace itself, and he's like, I'm burning, I'm melting, I'm melting. And everyone's like, okay, good job, people. And again, another reference that I mentioned it before, the Blob, how the townspeople got together to defeat this amazing monster. They get together and they defeat this snow monster. So everyone's like patting themselves on the back, like, good job, people. Well done, well done. And the FBI guy is left alone with the scientist guy. Is like, well, we did good. I mean, your research, well, your test subject just melted to shit. But doesn't matter. But in times like this, I like to look into the sky in the face of God and be like, oh, shit. That's what he says. Because Jack Frost evaporated, turns to water again, and whoop, comes
Rain.
back. And whew, my goodness gracious, it really overpowered him. Really, really overpowered him in this movie. And he shows another aspect of his powers. Because now and this is, I guess someone saw this scene, and that's when they did they did the lenticular cover. Because in the cover, you see Jack Frost with teeth. And in this scene, he pops up with chompies, ice chompies.
Ice chompers. Sort of like the monster in Rudolph the Red-Nosed.
Oh yeah, the abominable snowman. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yep. Ice chompers.
Another Christmas reference. This movie's full of references. So he kills the FBI guy and the scientist guy. Wait, I can help you. Turn human. And he's like, why would I want to be human? Look at all the stuff I've done and the fun I've had. No. And he proceeds to take a dive into the scientist. And I thought the scene was kind of goofy, but also pretty amazing because the scientist is walking by with a big goofy grin on his face. And he's like trying to control the guy all twitchy. Kind of reminds me of the Ed Bug from Men in Black. How it was.
Right. Yes, yeah. When he jumped inside Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah.
Yes. Someone in Men in Black, I guess, saw this because it kind of plays the same way. It's just like he's wearing a bodysuit. He's like walking along. He looks at the sheriff with a smile, and then eventually he's like, this is not worth it, and proceeds to come out of his body and reform, and it hits the fan again. But this time it's only the sheriff and his son. They get into the car, but Jack Frost gets into the car through water. And that's when the poison oatmeal comes into play.
Yes.
So the kid, again, reference.
They're desperate, and they throw the oatmeal on him, and it burns him.
Yeah, starts melting him, but actually hurting him because you get this really gory effect of Jack Frost melted, but kind of like Chucky. Because after a while he took damage, so his his plastic body starts developing ice muscles and stuff plastic muscles. Jack Frost has ice, but he has red and gooey stuff happening here. Again,
yeah, and he couldn't reform either.
No, the antifreeze was messing him up. And great effect, great practical effect, the way that looked. Mm-hmm. Big fan. I was such a good movie.
I was like, this movie's effects they were outstanding. I mean, I've seen movies with 10 times the budget of Jack Frost, but less than a tenth of his ability to tell a story.
Yep. So they meet up with the store owner, and he asks his kid, "What did you put in that oatmeal?" "Oh, I put antifreeze because I didn't want you to be cold." And so he meets the store owner. He's like, "Do you have antifreeze?" "Yes, it's 20% off at my store." "Forget that. Fill it up. Fill the truck up with all the antifreeze you can get, and I'll distract them. Come back here in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I'll distract them, but be at this spot at this precise time in 5 minutes." So the shop owner takes the kid, goes to the store, and starts filling up an antifreeze. And the sheriff's walking through. I guess it's a hotel room, a motel, something like that. So he's trying to get into the doors, and you hear this one room go like, "Oh, we're busy." And this is something so quick that if you don't notice it, it'll run right past you, but he's going through one door and he's like, "Oh, we're busy." And you hear people doing the, as our friend Echo would say, the chicken wow wow, chicken wow wow. And there's this one room where he knocks and he's like, "No, go away, we're busy." And you hear a bah. I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck? But eventually, Jack Frost comes into him and he goes into the room that I guess he already planned, but it's outside of this window. And Jack Frost finally has the sheriff right where he wants them. Starts to, again, produce his ice things and gets the sheriff here. And it's like, "You have no escape. I'm finally going to get you. I promised you that I was going to get you. And I'm going to enjoy this." But then the sheriff gets Jack Frost and jumps through the window into the vat of antifreeze. And
He
you
was
get
killing
even.
him slow. Remember, he brought the icicle out. He was going to try
Yeah,
the icicle trick, and he was doing it ever so slowly,
yeah, he was
while he was
enjoying himself.
monologuing. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
monologuing, and then he bought the sheriff some time, and then the sheriff looks at him and says, "That's the cavalry." And yeah, um, I thought for did you think for the second there that the sheriff was a goner, or because he looked like he was, it looked like it was like, man, are they going to kill the sheriff right here? And then had the I thought maybe the boy was going to kill him or something like that, but then the sheriff rallied and took him out the window into the antifreeze. Um,
Yeah, yeah. There was this weird because I thought that he got him in the stomach. I thought that's where he got him because it looked like it got him into something important because the sheriff's like, "Oh crap, you gotta be good." But it's actually in the shoulder, so I guess that wasn't set
right.
up as well as maybe it could have been. But so they take the knife into antifreeze, and Jack is turning into a disgusting pile of goo. First he's all melting, and then there's this weird like kind of like the marshmallow thing from Ghostbusters, but it's all covered in red, and the sheriff's trying to get him in there, and come on, come on, come on, come on. And but one of Jack's hands slops off, and the kid, again, this kid, man, no, no, something not right. And he's like, "Oh, Dad, you forgot this thing." And then the hand comes. So again, I guess Jack can reform as long as a piece of him is still,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Just really, really, the immortality and power from
You would need to do I think what you would need to do is like they put them in jars, but I think it's one of those things is where you put the jars in and then you would put a tube of antifreeze in and just keep that antifreeze rolling into the bottle 24/7, to
yeah,
keep them stabilized or disintegrate them, or or you keep pouring him into smaller and smaller bottles, like that's what he has. He sort of like the Mummy. The Mummy Returns. Remember, he had to reform his body. He had to go and he had to take somebody else's life in order to regenerate. I think that they would have did that with Jack as well. Like, okay, we're gonna put these all over the world because that they've been looking for Imhotep. They were looking
yeah,
for the pieces in the Mummy Returns because they had been separated, and so I think that's what they probably should have done with Jack Frost. They should have like not just like put them in like 4 bottles. They should have put them in 30 bottles and then shipped them, all over the world. He never
yeah.
would have been able. He never would have been able to reform at full power.
No, or at least because after they toss the kid with the hand into the antifreeze, and that's the end of Jack. That's how they defeat the monster.
Yeah.
He's completely dissipated into the antifreeze, and everyone's like, "Oh, thank goodness that's over." And then they pour that stuff back into the jugs of the antifreeze, and then just bury it. Now, me, Professor Macabro, that has seen a number of horror movies,
Yes. He never
would have
did.
done what you said. Maybe let's take one bottle all the way over there, and then another bottle all the way over there. But if you're gonna put everything together, put some concrete in that bad boy, so there's no chance that he can get out, like at
Hmm.
all. Pour
Yeah.
some concrete and then bury it if you want to, so it doesn't look like anything, and that
Take him
way you
out to
can
the
guarantee.
entomb the bottles in concrete, then take it out 100 miles off the ocean and drop it. You know,
Yep, something
don't
like that.
yeah, don't let him have a chance to reform, or put him in a hot springs.
Well,
Oh, thank
maybe
you
I
so
will.
much, Lord. Thank you for coming out. I'm glad you did. And we'll see you during the week. Go ahead, Professor. I'm sorry.
I was just looking at the chat, and yes, our friend Echo Zero acknowledges the chicka wow wow. That one was for you,
Yeah.
Echo. That one was for you.
Take a wow wow.
So, so yeah, they bury Jack Frost in the containers, and that's when the cavalry comes, and it's like, oh, always happens just when the monster's defeated. That's when the police, like in Monster Squad,
Right.
everything happens, and then at the end, the cavalry comes to save the day, and it's like, what for? Like, what for, man? Come on, we already did the deed. Fine, whatever. But again, I would have put concrete on that bad boy and have no chance of Jack Frost getting out because they do tease. They sequel bait themselves because
Hmm.
one of the jugs starts glowing and moving. So
Yeah.
they
Yeah. It's
sequel bait.
unfortunate. That's sort of unfortunate. You know, it's I do hate that for especially indie movies. I really hate that they do that cliche. Most of the time, to get your movie to be made and to actually get out there, it takes a lot harder for other than a mainstream studio to do it. And I just think that when you go ahead and like how long did it take you to get your movie made? Well, it took us like 3 years to get it out there to the people. Why in blue blazes are you going to go ahead and tease a sequel when it already took you 3 years to get that one done? It's like, you are hoping against hope that one, people like your movie, and two, some studio is going to come in and give you money to make another one. Or and
Yeah.
even if and where while there was another one made, but it was made for a lot less money.
Yeah.
It was
Oh
not,
boy,
it was
and
not,
you
it was
can
not
tell.
yes, as you can tell, and it's not nearly as good as the first one. So why do
No.
why? Well, sometimes a story is okay when it closes. You defeated your villain. He got destroyed. It's okay. The good guys win. Everybody goes home happy. But man, a lot of these filmmakers, they feel like, well, yeah, but we could do a return. We'll tease.
Yeah.
No,
It really it really is a double edged sword because in the one side you might get people interested like that was a good movie. I would like to see another entry in this movie that I enjoyed. Or it could be like it fails miserably. No one gives a crap about your movie, and then you have a cliffhanger that will never come to pass. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a big fancy smancy studio executive that always makes the right decisions in a movie, but yeah, for what it was, it's still a very fun movie. Again, very creative in the writing and how everything played out. Uh, Things that were hinted at the beginning play out through the movie. Again, maybe with a little bit more money, a little bit more time, maybe a little things changed here and there, it would have been a bigger success. But as it is, as it stands, me personally, Professor Macabro, your friend and pal, wouldn't change a thing out of this movie. It's perfect just the way it is. It's a combination of bad, good, with a good execution.
yeah, I think you could have stopped at the first one and ended it and been happy with it. I'm looking at the second one now. We could probably talk about that sometime. But I don't know. I just, yeah, I'm not really. That they brought back in the second one. They brought back some characters. They did, and actually they added a couple, including Doug Jones, as a matter of fact. Um,
Yeah,
but they did add, the Christopher Allport was back along with Scott McDonald, and Marsha Clark was back, as well as and David Allen Brooks was back as well. So they had a few returning people come in for the movie. I just feel like it was made for a lot less money, and it didn't look nearly. It wasn't nearly as fun as the first one. The first one was a lot of fun, though. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people think that the second one is a cult film. Just because you say it doesn't make it so. Um, I do think this is a movie that would be, especially Jack Frost being, in the public domain. I do think this is a movie that you could come out there and make a sequel to or reboot it to, and it would do pretty well. I think it would be fun if he did it, if he had the budget for it. Um, but
I
that's just
guess.
that's just me.
But the Snowman, because you did mention that there was a Jack Frost movie. I think it's in Tubi, but that's based more on the legend of Jack Frost. The guy that brings us winter and everything. But no, I
Right.
I, I would like an actual like legit killer snowman done with. But then you might they probably do the with CGI because it was all practical. The water is water that's running.
Mhm.
The snow and either be foam or be like that spray that they use to put it on businesses and stuff like that. Whatever styrofoam, whatever they used, it's there. It's tangible. It's things that you could see. But now everything would be CGI, and it would look as bad as that Christmas tree movie that also released. And that Legend Jack Frost, I would also not recommend. I started to check it out, and it kind of lost me. I still finished it because I won't let a bad movie beat me, but I wasn't actually having fun with that one. It was just a really hard movie to get through, but I wouldn't recommend that one either.
No. Um, we might cover that down the road. Hello, Rainbow. Rainbow is here, and she's loving your mask.
Oh, thank you.
We were gonna try to do two movies, but you can already see that we would have never have made it. We're already 90 minutes into this. We just got
Oh,
done covering the first one, so there's no way in hell we could have gotten the second one. Um, but
well, if we could, just very briefly, because I did see it. Uh, just three things I wanted to mention that rubbed me the wrong way. The first one is that nobody believes the sheriff about the Jack Frost creature, despite the fact that there were numerous, uh, witnesses to it. Because it starts off
yeah,
with the sheriff going to therapy, and he's like, there was this killer snowman that came and then was after me." And I'm sure that psychiatrist would get fired because he has the whole session in speaker, and everyone's laughing at this poor guy that comes out like a madman. Oh, look at this poor slum. He's talking about killer snowman. I wonder if he does this or does the glug 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 to come up with that. And I'm like, come on, people! A whole town witnessed the killer snowman. The whole town. Just
right.
at the end, they come back together. There's recorded deaths, which probably might have gotten. You could argue that maybe it got covered up by the FBI because of a chemical factory involved. I don't know. But that whole I don't like that where a movie establishes that this big thing happened, and then the possible sequel, it was like, oh no, that didn't happen. The main guy is just crazy. It's like
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah,
there's
it's too
witnesses.
it's too it's too big for that to happen. That's something that happens. That could be something you could see happening on a found footage tape. There's only you and the tape recorder. But you're right. The whole damn town saw it. How in the hell are you gonna turn around and keep everybody quiet from that? One guy lost it. One family is totally wiped out. How the hell are you gonna keep that quiet? One
Yeah,
an entire family, a family of four gone. How are you going to keep that quiet in a town that maybe is like, maybe the town's like 500 or 600 people? You lose four people, you lose an entire family like that. I don't care who you are, you're not going to be able to keep that quiet. That's Everybody's going to know everybody's business. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm with you. I think that's lazy writing.
because they killed the old guy with the broken neck. They killed the four family members.
Mhm. They
The
killed a
kid.
cop.
Yeah,
They killed
they
they
killed
killed
the
a
cop,
cop. They killed a
the
guard.
FBI, the
Yep.
guard, the
Um,
scientist. So it's
yep.
a big body count in a small town if you really think about it. But even big budget movies do that. Did you see the Michael Bay Transformers movies?
I saw the first one.
Okay, well that's the only one you really should have seen. But you saw the big epic battle. Robots are destroying town.
Right.
Millions of witnesses. In the second one, they blow it. Supposedly the government covered that up, and no one really knows that there's robots. It's just a rumor. I'm like, come on,
Um,
come on.
yeah,
That
that's sloppy. That's
that does
sloppy.
not happen, especially in a day and age when everyone's recording stuff.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous, ridiculous. So that's my problem with Jack Frost too. That they paint the poor sheriff guy as a lunatic that has this PTSD because of other stuff. The other thing that I wanted to, since we have time, is how bad the movie looks. Not It looks low budget. It really the first one looks like a film. Uh, it just looks better, but the sequel looks like they filmed it on video. I don't know, like those VHS videos. It looks like a TV special more than a movie itself. It's I don't know. You can really tell. They really what's that what's that thing that movie studios like to say, the diminishing returns.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what happens too when especially when it's a studio franchise. It's very rare that when they do that, it's very rare that a studio will get anything back. That's why every movie that comes out, there's a core audience for it, and they're aiming toward that, like Death Race, Scorpion King, Sniper. Um, but sometimes though those series like that, they make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. They come out and like the Scorpion King, man, the first like 2 or 3 movies they did were just trash, but then the last two were really good. Same thing with Death Race. They came out strong. Started, the budget was going down a little bit, but all of a sudden the movies got really good, and then they said, hey, maybe if we put in a little bit more money into this, we'll get better returns out of it, and they did, and they did. Um, yeah, I don't like that idea where they say, well, we're going to go ahead and put a title on the movie, and slap it out there and get fans to pay money for it, just because we slapped the name on it. Fans are not like that. It's like for like Sniper, that's a one franchise that absolutely treats their fans with respect. Those movies from top to bottom, I have not seen a bad one yet. Those movies are really good. I mean, they're really good. They're not just your typical, we're going to release it for the cash grab. There's some thought and effort to put in those movies, and the fans love it and they support it.
Yeah, I still have to watch the new one that came out for Sniper. Um, I don't remember what it was called, but there was a new one, a more recent one that came out. So yeah, and the other thing, I think that what maybe they were banking, or they were going to do like they wanted to do toys because they introduced the mini Jack Frosts, like the Gremlins or your Ghoulies or your Critters kind of thing.
I wonder if it got a Funko release. Probably not. Probably not a Funko, though. I would like to see. That would have been cool to see.
Yeah, well, I don't
I
know.
mean,
They might. There's a Funko for pretty much for anything under the sun. So
uh, yeah, because I mean, I like to. Yeah, I think this movie definitely needed the first one anyway. When you talk about Christmas movies, I think you definitely need to add this to Christmas horror. I definitely think it needs to be talked about more. I thought it was really well done. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. So yeah, I would like to find a physical copy of it if I can, because I like to
uh,
see what they did for special effect for special features. But the first one and the second one, both of these, you can watch on Tubi for free.
also, I found them on YouTube.
Oh, do you find
YouTube.
yours on YouTube? Yeah, I
Yeah,
found mine on Tubi.
yeah. They just updated Tubi because the problem I had with Tubi in the grand old country of Mexico is that everything on Tubi had Spanish audio and not very good Spanish dub. And that bugs me because I know the both. I know English and Spanish, so I know what they're supposed to be saying, and they say something totally different, and that always bugs me about poor translations. But they recently started releasing English movies in proper English with proper audio, and some new movies came out, so I can finally get into Tubi. I saw Rat's Night of Terror is in there, and oh boy, I've been wanting to revisit that one.
See, Salome fan is here. Salome fan 77. He
Oh,
picked up. He picked up. Man, he picked up the Evil Dead and the Southpaw Steelbook.
nice.
Southpaw starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who's doing the Roadhouse remake. They showed a picture of that yesterday. That guy.
Oh no.
He bought the Jaws 3 movie collection, so 1, 2, and 3. That's cool. Uh, see. Oh yeah, Wing Wing. Okay. Yeah,
Now,
thanks, man. I was really I got a Black Adam at the library this week
I
for
saw that.
yeah
That was a good grab.
yeah I had a feeling that that was coming this week, that last week, so I was ready for it. I went straight over there looking for it, and it was right there. So I'm hoping against hope that we'll have some more library stuff this week.
Sweet.
Um,
Now, to
well,
answer your comment, I think because I was remembering, I know I saw this. MVD has Jack Frost 1 and 2 on Blu-ray, and that one has a couple of special features. But it's a specialty thing. It might be more expensive for us budget collectors to get, unless you find it in the wild.
No, I'm not a boutique baller like some of our friends are.
I don't know.
I can't do that. I can't. But it's cool though. People who can. He got a steelbook, Jaws steelbook too. Nice, nice. Uh, yeah, I know a lot of people do that, buy the boutique stuff. But what is a boutique label, and how much do you have to spend before you get labeled being a boutique bala? Like
Any anything that costs over $30 is
um,
way beyond my price range.
now can we lower it down to $20? Let's make it 20, because that's more fun, because that'll put more people into the realm.
Yeah.
Like if you shop Vinegar Syndrome or Severin or 101 or Screen Factory, and you spend more than $20, you now become a boutique bala.
Make it rain, make it rain,
Yeah,
make it rain.
look at me. I got cash to burn, yo.
Now, don't get me wrong. If I had the money, I would totally buy it because there's a lot of stuff that
Oh
didn't get
yeah.
released on DVD or even Blu-ray, and these boutiques are re-releasing these movies that got lost for whatever reason,
See,
and making it available to the public. But it's just way beyond my price range.
Uh, let's see. Oh yeah. Zoolander was out there. Yeah. Uh, Someone saying that out there on Dollar Tree. The Zoolander steelbook was out there this time. I have not seen that. I was looking for it when I heard that. I went out to my stores to look for that steelbook, but I did not find it.
Well,
Um,
that's another thing that as a collector, because I consider myself a movie fan. I love movies, but I'm also a collector. I like owning physical media. If the internet goes down for whatever reason, well, as long as I have power anyway, I can pull up a DVD or a Blu-ray, what have you, and pop it in my TV and enjoy it if I don't
right.
have access to the internet. But something I've noticed is that when stuff like that gets released, there's a lot of people that just buy all the copies they can and then resell it for a lot more in the aftermarket, which kind of bugs me.
Yes, I have seen Stallone's fans collection. I have seen it. I have seen so many different collections. Yeah, there. I mean, there's some amazing collectors out there. Really immensely tremendous collections. Like the Professor has his collection going on there. Um, Mr. Daniel Hoare has got a great collection going on. Um, Showcase. I'm still trying to get Hobbs to showcase his movies. I want Hobbs to do a movie room tour soon. Um,
Yeah, that was actually also
once in a
mentioned. And
while,
I'm sorry.
once in a while, I'll pull out my camera and go show the closet. Uh, 'Cause there's
Oh,
some-
by the way, your bin videos, I enjoy. I've enjoyed those. I enjoy people showcasing their collection, but your bin videos, the way that you have your whole setup and you talk about the movies, because it's movies that not a lot of people might know about. It. Lord knows that you've shown movies that I didn't even know existed, but I really enjoyed your bin videos.
I'm well. I went back this week for Dollar Tree Theater. So I had to grab some movies for Dollar Tree Theater to vote on, and I said, okay, well, what am I going to do? Because I gotta pick up some new movies for Dollar Tree Theater. And so I kept one. I decided to rotate the second place winner for every one, and then I picked out some new ones. So I picked out these right here for Dollar Tree Theater, and I gotta be honest. I'll tell you. So here's the one I kept to from this finished last week. This finished second place. So I kept it.
I think I
And
voted for that one.
yeah, it's old flipper. It's old flipper. It's from
Uh-huh.
Warner Brothers. Mrs. Miniver is the Oscar winner from 1942. So I picked that one. That finished second, and then I picked Masters of Horror, Jennifer.
Ooh,
So I picked
I
that
did,
up. I'm like, yeah, I got
I
this one
have
for
that
about.
one, and
Do you have this one?
yeah, I bought it because I'm trying to collect those Master of Horrors. I only have like five, and that one also I picked up because it was directed by Argento, but
Right.
let's say that it's not Argento's best work, and leave it at that.
No. No. I got this one for $1.11
Yeah,
at this replay.
that's
That,
about as much what I paid for mine, and I'm okay with that purchase. If I would have paid more, I would have been upset.
then I got two brand new movies that I got from Dollar Tree, true Dollar Tree theater movies. I got All Cheerleaders Die, that was released
Oh,
by RLJE. So I got All Cheerleaders Die. So I
I
put
want to
that
get
up
that one.
there. I put
I
that up.
voted for that one too.
And then I got this one here called Poker Night. So
Ah,
this one here has Michael Eklund, Ron Eldard, Corey Large, Giancarlo Esposito, and Ron Perlman. Those are some heavy hitters this week, right? Heavy hitters. And
I saw
I have five slots. I have four where I can put those movies up. I have four, and then I put Cheetah's Choice. You
that
pick
one
up
always wins.
yes, and it's winning this week too.
Ah,
The Cheetah is winning this week.
I
People
mean, you
love
still,
what can I say? People love what the cheetah love.
yeah,
They
no,
like what he picks.
you do pick some good ones, but I wanted you to talk about Old Cheerleaders Die because that one's one that I've been hunting for. I've been wanting to get into the collection and missed that.
Um,
And I skipped on that poker one. I saw it, but I wasn't sure if it was a horror movie or a crime thriller or anything. I should have
I
got
think
it just because of the cast.
I think it's more like a crime thriller. I think it comes across as a crime thriller, though it has the guy in the mask. But I think it is a
Mhm.
crime thriller. All Cheaters Die. That's a horror film. And Jennifer's horror, and then Mrs. Miniver is a drama. Um, So it's a mix. It's a mix. But so far, I'll tell you what how well I'm doing on this. So let me go back because the cheetah is winning. For a while there, it looked like it was going to be a runaway win for uh, for uh, 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 for Jennifer. But all of a sudden, I looked over there, and lo and behold, uh, not too many people voted. So far, 16 votes. But so far, the Cheetah is winning 38% to 31% over Masters of Horror. And it ends tomorrow. So tomorrow it ends because I'm going to put the Dollar Tree Theater movie up on Tuesday. So right now, the only thing I can tell you is that Jennifer will be in second place, so it will carry over till next week. But all cheerleaders must die only got 13%. It
Yeah,
finished, yeah. And poker night, zero. Nobody voted for poker night.
yeah.
Nobody. Mrs. Minerva got 19%, so it finished third. So I mean, there's some good movie fans out there. But yeah, I love having people vote for Dollar Tree Theater. That's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with that. I just wish more people would vote. Um, let's see.
Yeah, I always vote when you put that up. I don't know if it comes up, but I do put my vote. But I always choose the most random movie.
yes, Ed, I remembered you from course. You voted for Halloween '81. I have not put Halloween '81 up there yet. I don't know what movies I'm picking. I don't know what I'm picking for the cheetah. I really truly don't. Last week I picked San Francisco, which did really well. People really liked that movie, and they liked my review, which I was really happy about because you tell most people we're going to be watching a black and white movie, and they check out. Uh,
Yeah, that is something that I have noticed from a lot of the younger people. They don't much care for black and white movies, but I grew up watching black and white movies on reruns on TV, and
Oh,
I
me
have
too.
a deep love for black and white movies because there's a different vibe to it if you watch it with the lights off and you have it the glow of the black and white. It's a very very cool experience. I wish more people would appreciate.
I agree. I agree. All right, we have 5 minutes to go before we get out of here. Just let you know soon. I'm not exactly sure when. There will be a time change going on here. I'll let you guys know about that right now. So we are going to stay in our time slot from 8 to 10 on Sundays, but Gory B movie is going to be moving in till 9:30. She's going to start her show at 9:30 Eastern time because she's actually been giving us plenty of room. She generally starts her show at 10:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Pacific, but unfortunately she loses half her audience from the East Coast by starting so late. So that's what happened to us at the midnight hour as well. We were starting the midnight hour at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and we were getting killed toward the end of it. We get a first good hour, hour and a half, but after that, people just left. And I think that's what's happening with Gory. Not to the extent it happened to us, but it's the same thing. So she did email us. She did ask if she could come in and start her show at 9:30. And by all means, yes, that's perfectly fine. Me and the professor, we will be cracking along at 9 to 8 to 10. We hope that you'll stay with us all the way through, and then you can go on over to Gory's channel. I'm not sure when she's going to start that time change. I just know that it is going to happen, and when it does at 9:30, that's when her show will start. So,
Yeah.
but what do you got? What
Well,
do you got going? What do you got going in your channel, Professor?
well, I actually have to get down to record it, but the plan for March is that I was going to do a martial arts March theme. Uh, February, my beautiful co-host took care of the Valentine's thing because I hate Valentine's Day. It's well known. I hate it, but she took the reins of that. And then Echo Zero issued the challenge for the '80s non-horror movie challenge that he did, and it was a lot of fun to revisit movies that are non-horror that I still enjoyed. But March will be the martial art ones. I already have to get to rewatching the movies that I have selected, and I'm still figuring out which ones more to add. I won't do it daily like the Valentine's Day one or the non horror movie challenge. I'm thinking
I can help
I'll
you.
do.
I can
Yep.
help you. I
Do
can help you.
tell.
We can do this. We can do the raid and the raid two. We could do the
But
raid on the 26th of March, and then we could do the second raid on April 2nd.
I have the first raid. I know have it on DVD, and I keep pointing at the wall of DVDs like you people can watch it. I apologize for that because I have it out here. Oh Lord, help me if there's ever an earthquake. I'll be crushed by so much stuff. But I do have the first raid. I need to figure out where I can watch the second one. But I have seen it, but it's been a hot minute since I've seen the second one. But yes,
If
that would
not,
be.
if not, we could. I think I still got it. We could definitely, because I definitely want to talk about it. Though is a Flashpoint. Man, we could watch. We could watch that one too.
I
Donnie
have
Yen
that
and
one.
Colin Chow. Dude, that's a
I'll have
that's
to
a
check.
blaze, that's a banger of a movie. Holy shit, that's a banger.
I'll have to
Yeah,
check if I
but
own it.
but next week, I do know for next week here on the channel for March 12th for the show. Um, we are going to cover. Yes, we're going to cover this. Do you have? I don't know what we're covering. I'm not going to speak out because really don't know. We're going to have to talk to the professor. Him and I are going to put our heads together, and then I will put a banner up tomorrow. So come back to my channel tomorrow, and we will have the
Patrick,
movie. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're covering. We can cover
lean a
one.
little bit,
Huh?
lean a little bit. I'm trying to put our heads together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Bang.
go.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we are gonna cover something fun. Maybe we'll do Unleashed. Maybe we'll do Romeo Must Die. Maybe we'll do. Maybe we'll
She
do.
said she wants us to talk about Superman 4. I don't know what's up with that.
No, we're not talking about Superman 4. Uh, If I had it, I would definitely. I would. Oh, you would not want to hear me review that. But we will be watching something fun next week. Come back tomorrow. We'll figure it out. And I'll announce it during our interview with Emily Whitcomb. I will announce it what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing, but we will be doing something.
Yeah.
Me
If you want to talk about the first race, because the one movie format I think fits us better. If you want to talk about the first
we got to do
raid,
the second one. We got to
we
do
could
the
do that.
second one. The second one is badass.
Yeah,
Second one is really badass. But I think I got one that I think maybe we can do because I know it's on Tubi. I'll see if you have it too, and I'll tell you about it off camera. And if you got it, awesome. If not, we'll
yeah,
see if it's on Tubi. If it is, we'll talk about it next week.
oh yeah,
I can tell you that it's going to be fun. That's all I can tell you.
awesome.
All right. Well, we're out of here because I don't want to be here when Gory gets on here. Thank you guys so much for coming out and supporting us on for Jack Frost. We had a blast telling us about it. Professor, you're an awesome storyteller. Thank you so much for taking us through the movie.
Oh, you're too kind,
And
Patrick. You're too kind.
I can't wait.
I don't think I'm that good, but I do what I can.
We're gonna tear shit up next week. And like I said, we'll have the movie announced tomorrow. Thanks you guys in the chat. Thank you so much, and we will see you tomorrow for Emily Whitcomb. And after that, over on Call Me V, she's doing a show where she's interviewing Mark from the Friendly Men at 9:30. So yeah, there you go. All right, kids. Thanks so much for watching. We will talk to you soon. Peace.